It's enough, I think. It's enough, I think.
Hey.
Hello. Welcome to the Green Live stream. Oops, we got ourselves
Oh.
backwards. That
Ooh,
feels
I
normal.
felt that. Wow.
This is Bizarro World. We're all opposite. I'm your host, Edie Arndell. I'm here with my very wonderful co-host, Mr. Scott Free. So happy to have you here, Scott.
Hey, glad to be here. Hey, everyone.
Yeah, so we got a lot to cover today.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. As always, because the week just keeps piling up, right? So
There is so much going on simultaneously. It's impossible to keep up with everything. It's unreal.
Yeah, well, that's on purpose because oligarchs like chaos so they can steal things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They're like Molotov cocktail throwers, you know.
Yep.
So, Ariel, did you want to play that first little clip? Caitlin Johnstone?
Truth is anti-Semitism. Protest is terrorism. Dissent is Russian propaganda. Critical thinking is misinformation. War is peace. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength.
Yeah, I just saw that they announced 840 student visas have been revoked. And the reasons, because they support Palestine. That's the reason they're against genocide. They're against the slaughter of people. So that's why they had their student visas revoked. It's a sick administration. They've gone way beyond. I mean, this is absolute thought police.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There a little bit later, Caitlin talks about that. I love Caitlin Johnstone. She has made it clear that you can use anything of mine. If, I put it out there, it's free to use. And she really gets down to, the core of what's going on. And she doesn't pull any punches.
And she does it on a daily basis. And so we're almost like we have her as a guest because we're going to feature a lot of Caitlin Johnstone today. But I've heard she does not appear on shows. So, and I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure because I've never seen her on a show. But, it's absolutely, everyone needs to check her out. We'll probably have some link that folks can find her. She's at all kinds of places. She's on Substack, definitely on Twitter.
Oh, here we go. So we got that.
Yeah, there we go.
And she's got a Substack, which I highly recommend following.
Yeah.
And I love that she's lining it out that way. If anybody's ever read 1984, that was what they did. War is peace.
Yeah.
That what is it? Your chocolate ration is actually more than it was last week, even though you see that it's less.
Yeah. Well, it's a defense budget. There's nothing defense about what we do. Actually, I've read a good piece somewhere where they talked about how our military budget, it's massive. It gets increased every year. It's huge. And every other country has to have a defense budget because of us.
Yeah.
They are actually defense. They are all doing defense, but it's because of us and Israel.
Yeah, exactly. Ariel, did you want to put up the next?
Peace through strength is just empire speak for warmongering. Literally translated, it means warmongering, but the good kind. Anyone who uses this slogan is either an empire manager, a propagandist, a bootlicker, or a moron. There are no exceptions.
I believe that's her husband that reads that, but see what I'm saying?
Oh, so I was just thinking it was AI. Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
There's so much AI voice now that if your voice is too good, then I'm suspicious. Wait a second. Are you AI?
Oh, man. Well, side note, if anybody watches Black Mirror, that's all about how technology goes nuts and can be very terrifying or amazing.
I just saw a piece on 2 Harvard students that have, and they said we built all this stuff ourselves. It really wasn't that easy to do. And they got, remember those smart glasses that they can walk around and with their technology, their AI stuff, and whatever they have, and they can walk up to people and say, "Oh, your name is blah 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 blah. You can," blah, 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 blah," and they can give you a bio as they walk down the street. I mean, it is.
What was that movie? Oh my God. I think it was had Jessica Alba in it. Right. Anyway, it was like that. Like, just like you're walking around and you can see everything. I mean, Blade Runner too, right?
And the thing is, again, it's the match of the two, right? I mean, I think they had announced that Marco Rubio had used AI to come up with this list, and now it's 840 people that visas have been revoked. So the problem is, yes, the technology is here and it is being used. It is being used in the worst way.
Well, here's also what I'll say. They're worried. That's why they're doing it. And they want to take out the people that are the leaders because they know what they're doing is un-American. It is against our Constitution, and it's illegal, both in the United States and internationally. So how they do that is through fear and repression.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the response has to be, has to be, you do one thing wrong, 10 more people join us, or 100 or 1,000. The more wrong you do, the more people speak out because they can't kick us all out. I mean, nobody would be able to do the work, just saying.
And we also have to, realize that not everybody can stand up to it. Mm-hmm. And, this is at a conspiracy theory state, but I mean, there's no doubt that maybe a year and a half ago, Russell Brand was at the top in terms of being the most popular and anti-imperialist, anti-empire. And then they found a sex allegation against him. And I'm not saying he didn't do it, but I'm just saying that is one of the ways that they will attack. And sure enough, he stopped being pro-Palestine. He became a born-again Christian. He totally, just changed everything about his, what his brand. And Scott Ritter, now I don't know, this is early, but Scott Ritter was a super anti-empire person. The FBI came, raided his house, took all his computers. Now he's pro us going to war with Iran. So I'm just saying,
I know. It's a fear campaign. They're getting people that have the strongest voices. So, I love movies, so a lot of my brain goes there. So I don't know if you all have watched the Eminem story 8 Mile. I know it's a little older.
I did see that movie. I did see.
So how he won his, his battle, right? Is because he owned his own shit. He came up and he said, "Yeah, my mom's spaghetti and this and that." I mean, I'm not a rapper, but it was a great moment because then when the opposition came up, they had nothing. And it was like, choke, 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 Yeah. So that's what you got to do.
Okay.
Just know everything in your life will be exposed if you speak out. Yeah. And you got to get comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Because everybody's got something.
Yeah.
Everybody does. Yeah. Or they'll lie about you, and you got to prepare yourself for that as well. Yeah. So you want to show the Caitlin Johnstone Substack so we can move on in a couple minutes? Yeah. So I just want to run through this kind of quickly. So notes from the edge of the narrative matrix. Reading by Tim Foley.
Oh, okay. Human.
Human. He just sounds really good. So there's her video. And oh my God. Yeah. And I highly, highly recommend reading 1984 in this new light. I think I'm going to reread it. The 2-minute hate is exactly what the Democrats are doing. Let's scream and yell for 2 hours and then go home and just, now you feel better.
Yeah, right.
The Gaza Holocaust is happening right now. Hang on. Yeah, thanks, Ariel. In front of us. It's like if everyone in Nazi Germany had screens in their homes broadcasting exactly what was happening inside the extermination camps the entire time. Nobody can say they didn't know. That claim does not exist for us. Everyone knows. It's all about, okay, what are you going to do about it? They lied about beheaded babies so they could behead babies. They lied about rape so they could rape. They lied about the events of October 7 so that they could commit hundreds of October 7ths. And now they're saying they think 500,000 people are dead.
Oh yeah. Oh, I would not
A
be
quarter of their
surprised.
population is probably dead.
Yeah. No, if I said this before, if we don't take action, I think Palestine will no longer exist because, it's going to be really bad, and I know that like Netanyahu, because I mean, just watch the way Trump acts. He knows that this is his opportunity, so he's going all full stop, and it's a rough. That again, that points to the real damage that in the perfect way that Democrats are doing this. So they keep them occupied with important things. But again, that is not part of the discussion on the Democratic Party side of the protests. Therefore, you got millions of people who just don't bring it up. And it is too bad that they figured out how humans work with propaganda. That, I mean, I know these are good people, right? I know they're
Yeah,
good
they
people. I
are.
know that they wouldn't want murder. They wouldn't want slaughter. And yet they're not saying a thing, not a thing, because they've been told they've been given their list of things to complain about. And a lot of those are valid, totally valid, but they just do what they're told. They don't step out of line.
Ariel, you want to put up 1C? That's a great segue, Scott. Thanks for that.
I didn't plan it.
It's an awkward time to be a liberal Israel supporter. Like that doesn't even make sense, right?
Right.
Senate Minority Chuck Schumer said in a recent interview that his job is to keep the left pro-Israel, which is just sad. Being a liberal Israel supporter these days probably feels like a defense attorney for an accused murderer who won't shut up about how much he loves murdering. And this brings me to my second point, which in Springfield, I think it is, there's gonna be a showing of this. I'm gonna try to get it down here. We should look at Chicago too.
Okay.
A Palestinian co-director of the Oscar-winning film No Other Land, Oscar-winning film, was assaulted and injured by a gang of Israeli settlers in the West Bank village of Susia before being abducted by the Israeli soldiers on Monday. And this has been a little bit. Hamdan Balal and two other Palestinians were reportedly transferred from the Israeli military to the police for questioning. And as of this writing, they were still detained. No Other Land is a documentary. Okay, hang on, I lost it.
Well, I was going to add that yes, there is one. Well, not in Chicago, but the screening is at Illinois State University.
Yeah,
and
Illinois State University.
Yeah, that's April 21st. So, and if folks go to the ilgp.org website /events, or just hit the events tab, we've got it in there, so you can see the details.
Well, thanks for doing that, Scott.
Yeah,
Scott's in charge of events on the website. So I just want to read this next little part, and then we can move on. No Other Land is a documentary about Israeli abuses towards Palestinians in the occupied West Bank, which makes a lynch mob assault by the settlers not only ironic, but completely vindicating of Bilal's work. These freaks are so consumed by hatred and Zionist brain rot that they actually thought they'd advance their cause by attacking Palestinians in the West Bank in response to a documentary about the mistreatment of Palestinians in the West Bank.
It's really interesting to hear. I watch Gray Zone. They do a YouTube show Friday nights, and Max Blumenthal and Aaron Mate. And I am not Jewish, and I don't know the upbringing, but I hear it now. I mean, as more people are talking about Israel and their backgrounds and both of them talked about the childhoods they had with, I mean, Aaron Mate talked about it like a Zionism camp that he went to when he was real young. And I mean, it is just installed. And, I mean, it's brainwashing from day one is what Zionism is. And so, yeah, most people, again, It's bizarre. It's bizarre to talk to people in town and friendly people, and then and I want to be nice. I'm in a social setting, and I know that they're Zionists, and I know they're totally fine with killing Palestinians, and then everything's cool, and it's bizarre. It's bizarre. I feel like we are in World War II, and we got Nazis hanging out with us, and we're just it's bizarre. It is.
Yeah. It's a death cult.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I have been listening to a lot of music lately, and one of mine and my husband's favorite bands are the Kills.
Okay,
And
I've
they
heard of
have
them.
this song "Doing It to Death,"
Hmm.
and she's like, "Hands up, it's a death cult." Like, woo, doing it to death.
Yeah.
So we can move on to the next segment.
Okay. Yeah, I think we kind of talked about it a bit with just, the Democratic response. And, their
Mhm.
big thing, except for the Cory Booker speech, has been the hands-off rally. And so Caitlin wrote about it, and so I'm going to just read it here. The mass media are giving so much more attention to the anti-Trump protests than they ever gave to the anti-genocide protests. Remember that, because it's their job. It's their job to amplify opposition between the two mainstream parties while marginalizing those who oppose the crimes of both. Movements which keep people plugged into the two-party sock puppet show will always be amplified and encouraged, while movements which highlight the abuses of the U.S. empire, regardless of who happens to be in office, and that's what we stress all the time, they will be ignored at best and smeared at worst. That's why we've seen so much attention go into Trumpism and anti-Trumpism, while genuine anti-war movements struggle to get off the ground, while pro-Palestinian demonstrators are slandered as anti-Semitic terrorist supporters. So Caitlin hits it again, as she does every time.
Sock puppet.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Red or blue, those are your choices.
Right.
You want the red Kool-Aid or the blue Kool-Aid? But either way, don't drink the Kool-Aid, right?
And Rick last minute after the show, he talked about it. It was really good because I rag on the Democrats and how the Democrats are trying to destroy the Green Party. He goes, "Yeah, in the red states, the Republicans are doing it too. Don't forget that. I live in a blue world, so that's all I see." But yeah, he goes, "Oh no, the Republicans have tried to block us from being on the ballot too." So, but again, it is a sock puppet show. They definitely are pretending to be enemies. They are not enemies when it comes to the defense budget. They are not enemies. When it comes to censorship, they're not enemies. They are not enemies. When it comes to the police, the militarization of police, they are not enemies.
Yep. What is it? Cop cities were built under Biden.
And Democratic mayors of all the cities. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. And Sandra Massey in Springfield was killed under Democrats.
Yeah.
I think there was some movement on that, but I haven't kept up. I mean, it's like I said, it's just so much.
And yeah, I mean, it's bad. I mean, you've got a bad rally, and it should be red flag warnings when Nancy Pelosi speaks at it, which she did in Scranton. And it's just, that's
2B.
That just is really, that's a real sign you are not. I mean, if you're protesting and you're protesting with the people that are running this government, that's not a protest. And they were bragging about there were no, police altercations. Look, we're so good. There's no police altercations. Yeah, there's police altercations at pro-Palestine rallies because the police come in and beat up everyone. That's why there's altercations. The police start those things.
Yeah, or the counter protesters
come
scream at us.
There were certainly some Zionists that come in and try to wreak havoc. Yes.
Yeah.
To just go back to Black Lives Matter, I guess I was just more innocent. I don't know if I've told this story, but I was in downtown Chicago, and it was the big Black Lives Matter protest, and it was just really cool energy. Everyone was really positive, and I'm walking down the street, and it didn't sink in. There's a pile of bricks on a corner, and there's it didn't hit me until probably a week later. I was like, oh, that wasn't a construction site, and why would there be this random pile of bricks? And I don't know if you remember that story where they some guy was going around smashing windows in, I don't know if it was Indiana, some town, and somebody started following with the camera to get his face to see who it was, and the girlfriend of the guy that they exposed said, yeah, he's a police officer. Yeah.
So yeah, we've got 2B now talking about Nancy.
Yeah, just it's just wake up. If if you're protesting with Nancy Pelosi, you got issues. Your protest ain't all that.
That's not a protest.
No,
it's a campaign event.
Right. You're absolutely right, and that's what it is. Hands Off was a campaign event for Democrats, and again, I want to keep repeating. Absolutely, what Trump is doing is horrific. It's horrific, but they set this up for that. I mean, it goes all the way back to Bill and Hillary Clinton, who pushed Trump as a candidate because they thought they could beat him. Because and I have to get it. We all laughed when he came down the elevator and said that Mexicans are rapists. We're like, what?
I didn't laugh.
What? I did. I said,
oh shit.
See, I just thought it was I thought it was stupid. I was totally naive. I really thought, oh God, nobody's going to go for this stupid. Yeah, I was wrong.
Well, and you also got to look at, if you've watched any of the 90s sitcoms, Donald Trump is mentioned in Frasier. He's mentioned in Friends. He's mentioned all the time.
There was a really good documentary around his first presidency where they just talked about that. His history in New York was all promotion, and he worked it. He worked the gossip magazines and the grocery store. I can't remember the big one that he was a part of. And oh no, he has worked this for years. For years, he has been all about his own promotion.
Yeah. Well, we can go ahead to 3. Go ahead. Did we already play that next clip? I can't remember.
Trump supporters are like, no, you don't understand, bro. The president isn't attacking free speech. He's just rounding people up and silencing them for political speech he doesn't like. They're saying the wrong words, bro. The government can't just let us hear the wrong kinds of words.
Yeah.
Saying bro makes it okay, I guess.
It's
like saying dude, but dude, genocide's whatever.
And right, they're supporting his censorship, because that he's their hero. And the Democrats did the same thing. They supported the censorship. Disinformation. Oh, it's Russian bots. Oh, it's the Democrats did the exact same thing, depending on what the issue is and who's in charge and who they got to protect. So
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, with the Democrat side of the empire, they pick on Russia. With the Republican side of the empire, they pick on China.
Yeah.
It's the same playbook,
Yeah.
just different villains, rotating villains, right? You want to put up the next part, Ariel? Did we make slides for that one? I hope. Trump's revival of the Alien Enemies Act is at the heart of the new McCarthyism. So, I mean, we've been through this before. Apparently, we didn't learn much. So, I'm having trouble seeing that. So, I'm going to read it on my phone. On March 15th, as U.S. President Donald Trump signed a proclamation in secret, not a public servant, just saying, reactivating the Alien Enemies Act as a way to speed up his mass deportation agenda. 70 activists from around the U.S. and Mexico gathered in Ajo, Arizona, in the heart of the Sonoran Desert. We were convened for the weekend by Witness at the Border, a grassroots group that I co-founded to share experiences and plan responses to the Trump administration's onslaught of immigrant rights. During our retreat, we heard the testimony of Dora Rodriguez, a Salvadorian Catholic activist who fled her homeland in July 1980 in the wake of the murder of Archbishop Oscar Arnolo Romero by a death squad aligned with the military and political elites that were supported by the U.S., a killing that became a turning point in the intensification of El Salvador's bloody civil war. And guess where we're sending people? Thanks, Ariel. That's good.
Yeah.
You can find all these stories in our show notes too, or most.
Oh, yes. Thank you for doing
Many
that.
as they'd allow me to put in there.
Okay.
So.
No, it's a brutal system, and on top of that, to make it even worse, it's a brutal system that now we are adding to doing the work for Israel. That's what's been put on top of it, because they love to go after the immigrants and green card holders and visa holders, but now they're doing it because they don't like what they're saying about Israel. So Israel is the one who's determining this policy here. It's not, and just like I don't know if it's the first time, go back in history, but we bomb Yemen. Okay, we're not bombing Yemen because Yemen has anything against us. That is not what we're doing. We are bombing Yemen for Israel. And in fact, I think Gray Zone just put out a piece about how we're using Israeli intelligence to do it. So we are doing the work of Israel. We are directly bombing. Yes, we've been sending them bombs to do their bombing, but we are now actively bombing them just for Israel.
Yeah. Hey, Antipo. Hey, good to see you.
Cat invades.
Cute kitty.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I saw a map showing of the United States, all the states where you can't get a public job if you support BDS, and it's
right.
It's like 95% of the United States.
Right.
But you know what else is 95% of the United States? Green Party ballot access.
Yes, there you go.
Oh, you want that changed?
Yeah, that's a good tie-in.
Green baby.
Yeah.
So before we move on, I would like to say to our 26 live stream watchers, and I can't tell how many likes because I think I only see Facebook.
Okay.
But we are trying for 500 subscribers by the end of the month. We're growing exponentially. It just keeps picking up. It was like 10 people a month, and then it was 20 people. Now it's like 30 people. And I think we got another 10 in just the last week or so.
Oh, wow. That's great.
So if you're not subscribed, please do. We're looking at the YouTube channel mostly. And share it with, 3, 5, 10 friends.
I always think of that shampoo commercial. They tell two friends, and they tell two friends. Was it Breck?
Yeah.
We're so old.
It was clever. They could do that now.
It was great. I think of that all the time. I think of that for the Green Party all the time. Tell two friends, and they tell two friends, and they tell two, and so on, and so on, and so on.
Ariel, if you're listening, maybe that's our next promo. And you tell two friends, then you tell two friends.
And we should find the old Breck commercial to. Oh, okay. There we go.
See, we're not all gloom and doom. We have fun too.
We have some fun.
You know why? Because we feel like we got the solutions. Just sitting here waiting for people to pick them up.
That that's another big point that I think we should be always stressing is the left loves to complain. It's really cool to complain. And unless there's solutions, Sabby Sab says this all the time. She wants solutions. We can't just be, we got plenty to complain about, and we need to let people know what's going on, but we need solutions. And that's why Green Party is a solution. And please, if anybody wants to run for an office, get in touch with us. And we are putting together a slate of candidates for 2026. So please, you can reach out to us. Let's see, should I give them an email? organizer@ilgp.org.
Or just go to ilgp.org and hit contact.
Yeah.
Become a member, get involved. And I don't know if y'all noticed up in the top right-hand corner, you can scan that. So we've got another challenge besides our 500 subscribers. That is just for fun, right? But the real work is if you can't volunteer, we get that. But maybe find maybe not go to dinner and give the ILGP $26 for 2026.
There
We're
you go.
gonna need you can't just do this with no money. You have to have some money, for supplies and flyers and advertising and events and water and food, and you can't do it with zero money. So this is another thing that the Democrats and the Republicans have tons of because they've sold out. They have completely sold out. They are owned by billionaires. All you had to do was watch the inauguration and you just look, they're billionaire, billionaire, billionaire.
Right.
Well, we don't do that. We're not allowed to do that. So, it's part of signing up to be a candidate. You have to say you won't take that money. So,
Absolutely.
so please, please, please donate.
Yes.
Yeah. Just scan the QR. Just open your phone. If anybody doesn't know how to do it, show it to your camera, and then a little yellow tab at the bottom will show up, and that's where you donate. $26 or more. So we can go to the next thing. What is it? Oh, Chris Hedges. Yeah. I had the very great pleasure of meeting Chris Hedges. And while Ariel and I were in Seattle, I missed him on the first day because he disappeared right after the panel. And then we were there for the second day, and Ariel's sitting next to me. He's like, look, Chris Hedges is over there. I'm like, I left my book at the Airbnb. But he went back, Ariel went back and got it for me. I'm like, I don't want to go back and get it. He's like, I'll do it. So Ariel got his signature on my book, American Fascists, The Christian Right and the War on America. Cool. And he is an excellent writer and a good speaker. And he's been there, done that, I'm still having trouble seeing the screen, so I'm going to go here. And I love Mr. Fish's artwork.
Oh, that man is brilliant. His stuff.
Stomp of approval.
He is really, really
Absolutely
strong.
brilliant.
It's amazing that Chris has him to. Yeah, his graphics are phenomenal.
Yeah, and ScheerPost is Bob Scheer, and he does some great work too. And if you're not signed up, that's really the only thing you need to do is sign up to ScheerPost, and you get all the news, domestic and international. It all comes there. It's almost too much to keep up with at this point.
Yeah, well, everything is too much.
So I'll read a little bit. I was not surprised when Columbia University's interim president, Katrina Armstrong, caved to the demands of the Trump administration. She agreed to ban face masks or face coverings, prohibit protests in academic buildings, and create an internal security force of 36 New York City police officers empowered to remove individuals from campus and or arrest them when appropriate. What's appropriate, right? She has also surrendered the autonomy of academic departments as demanded by the Trump administration by appointing a new senior vice provost to review the university's Department of Middle East, South Asian, and African Studies and the Center for Palestinian Studies. Mm-hmm. So not only are they trying to quash dissent, they are trying to make you not learn about it, about the history.
Yeah, it just shows, the universities, they are such tools. They are tools of empire, and they've been that way a long time. And I think one of the best things that happened with this pro-Palestine protests is that they demanded to know where the investments were coming in the universities. And they really, I learned this kind of recently that a lot of hedge fund managers and, billionaires, they use universities as a way to do it through a tax-free route. So they're still doing their same investments, but the universities gets used. So that's why, they completely just kowtow to the whatever is demanded by empire. They are standing up for nothing. And you think about what, in the past when they used to stand for something, right? The universities were like free speech havens. That is gone. Everything that was good about this country is gone. It's just disappearing in every facet.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say a little side note, banning face masks. Really? Wait a second. What about that COVID era? What was that? What was that about?
Can you
Now
say
they want to
hypocrisy?
ban face masks? And,
Yeah.
and really seriously, I mean, there are people that have medical issues. I mean, I know it's not the reasoning here, but I mean, there are people that have medical issues that have to have face masks. That's
They're
not,
saying we don't care about your health
yeah.
because,
Well,
we,
and
we
this,
won't get any money.
well, and the sick thing is what it, the reason you have to wear a face mask is because you will be deported. I mean, they grabbed
Mhm.
all these people, and that was facial identification. That's a lot of what
Mhm.
was used for this.
Yeah, if you
So
ever watch some of the protests, especially lately, since they started picking up people, if you're going to protest, a lot of people wear a face mask.
I should.
And then I was watching Status Quo sometime this week or last weekend, I don't remember. But this Zionist was just like in this dude's face, like insulting him. Take your mask off, just teasing him and just throwing out the stupidest insults. Like they don't even know what they're protesting. They
Yeah.
just don't like it because they're not getting their way. They think they're right and they just won't hear anything else. But he was like this close to him.
Yeah.
And the Palestinian man did nothing. He just stood there.
Well, I mean, I actually would advise people. I'm terrible about remembering to do that, but I think we really should. We are in the day and age now that, we are being recorded. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, you have to do everybody should get burner phones. I haven't done that yet either. But yeah, I mean, it's super, super serious now because, the Zionism that controls our government it's just the worst of the worst because you can see it's what they are actively doing. These people think of nothing. They shoot children in the head with guns. I mean, they absolutely have there's nothing there that they won't do, and they're dangerous and they control our politicians. So that's I mean, I think we're in the worst situation that this country has been in, I think, in its history. I think things are
Yeah, maybe
incredibly
even
bad.
worse than the American Revolution.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah.
We need a nonviolent revolution, and we'll get into that later. But yeah, protect yourself.
Yes.
Go with things you're willing to lose. Because you might get picked up, and make sure you got a lawyer on speed dial. I mean, that didn't work for Mahmoud Khalil, but
No,
his wife had him on there, and that situation has. Yeah.
Yeah, the judge said that he can be deported. I don't know if he has been deported yet, but the ruling went against Khalil, as we expected.
They're appealing.
Okay.
Appealing. Right. So, yeah, we got to be smart because empires, especially in these last stages, are very brittle, and we have a lot of creative ingenuity. So if you get creative, we can defeat them. We have to.
Yeah,
we don't have any choice.
We have no choice. We've got a climate catastrophe to deal with too. Oh, and Earth Day's coming up. So next week I want to really cover a lot of what's going on environmentally because we got so much going on. We skip all that. I mean, people die every single week in this country from weather-related conditions, and it doesn't even make the news anymore because there's so much going on.
Yeah, it's kind of like shootings.
Yeah, right.
School shootings, they happen all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're only newsworthy if something unusual happened, like the people that were there to protect those in Uvalde, they run and hide until it's over. Yeah, you should all be fired and put in prison for dereliction of duty or something. But we can move on to 4. I kind of like making up little titles, but yeah. So things are falling apart. If you want to talk about this, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, it's just as we knew this would happen. I mean, the protests went on and on and on about the Keystone oil pipeline, and we knew. So I'm just going to read a little bit. Workers have recovered thousands of gallons of crude oil from an underground pipeline spill on North Dakota farmland, the owner of the line said Thursday, but it remains unclear when oil will start flowing to refineries. They are investigating the cause of the spill Tuesday along its pipeline near Fort Ransom, North Dakota, about 60 miles northwest of Fargo. The spill released an estimated 3,500 3,500 barrels or 147,000 gallons of oil into farmland. The company said 700 barrels have been recovered so far. So it's just, again, and that was a big part of the protest. They knew what would happen because these things happen all the time. And
yeah, I was just gonna say, I haven't kept up with the Greenpeace case, but they're suing Energy Transfer Partners, or I can't remember the name of the main corporation, is suing Greenpeace for defamation.
and
saying that Standing Rock was all their idea. No, it was the Native Americans there. It's a story of theirs about the black snake, and the black snake is the oil pipeline. And that's what they're saying.
And I think the judge ruled against Greenpeace. I'm pretty sure they were charged with like $700 million or something.
667, but of course they're going to appeal.
But
it's a way to quash the dissent again.
Right. And it's the way to destroy any,
Yeah.
They want to get Greenpeace. They weren't even the main ones doing it, but they want to get Greenpeace.
Put that back up, Ariel. Yeah. Hi, Michelle. Good to see you
Hey,
here.
Michelle.
They charged Jill Stein federally. They're pursuing the Washington University nonsense as her assaulting the cops. I'm like, adulting. Well, she was trying to adult them.
Teach them something. Yeah, with their own bike.
With their own bike.
Yeah, I don't remember the date.
How dare you reach out and try not to fall? You touched my bike because I was trying to push you down with it. I think we showed that video.
Yeah, I think the court date's in April. I don't know.
No, I think it's May.
Oh, May. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's coming up. And yeah, Michelle, I mean, you're right that, again, this is the environment that we're in. I'm scared for Joe because this government is out to get all protests. If the protests are challenging the system, they are out to get us.
And now this is venturing into the realm of political prisoners.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because she wants a policy change. I want a policy change. Scott does. Most of the people I know do. And it is constitutional to redress your government with your grievances. And now they're saying you can't do that anymore.
Right.
So that gets into the realm of authoritarianism and, unconstitutional behavior. But I have to tell you all, we cannot rely on the courts. We cannot rely on our current politicians, especially if they're a D or an R. And we cannot rely on that piece of paper because it's only as good as the enforcement of the laws. And we don't have that right now. So we have to rely on ourselves. You got to look in your heart and say, what could I do? What in my community? What online? What can I do to fight back? Like, it can't just be this hands-off protest. Okay, my 2-minute hate, I got it all out of my system. If you noticed about that, there was no action items. Nothing.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
She won't back down. Well, we won't either. We're gonna go support her.
Yeah.
And yeah. And should it go wrong, they have no idea what they'll unleash because you start arresting people for their opinions. I mean, it's already happening, but you do somebody major, people are going to start seeing through it. Just saying. I feel like we skipped the Boeing thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so they settled the night before the court case was supposed to start. I wanted to cover this because it's a federal case, but it was in Chicago. And so they settled out of court. We don't know for how much. And, Boeing is just, and we're also going to talk about how Ralph Nader's niece died in this particular crash. And it just, reminded me, he did sue also. I don't know the outcome. I'm assuming it was also handled out of court. And it just reminded me of, back in the day when Ralph Nader complained about the safety of the Corvair car and how they basically, he had that thing shut down. That doesn't happen today. He sues Boeing. They're going strong, right? They get all the government contracts. It doesn't matter that they killed 350 people in 2 plane crashes. It doesn't matter that the doors fall off. It doesn't matter. None of it matters now because every aspect is controlled. There isn't a lot of press. There's a little press on these things, but not major stories. They don't make these major stories. They let the stories die because, again, the press is controlled. I also just wanted to mention, if people don't know, that the two former Boeing employees who raised safety concerns were died. One through a rare bacterial infection that they never figured out, and then one man who was found dead with a gunshot wound in a parking lot. I mean, and they say it was suicide, but yeah, in a parking lot.
And look at this beautiful young lady.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, they wanted to stay ahead of the competition. They were competing with Airbus.
With Airbus,
and they knowingly, where does it say that? A preliminary report released Thursday by the Ethiopian government said the Ethiopian Airlines jet suffered from faulty readings by a key sensor, and pilots followed Boeing's recommended procedures when the plane started to nosedive but could not avoid crashing. The findings included the faulty sensor data drew the strongest link yet between the crash in Ethiopia and an October crash off the coast of Indonesia, which both involved Boeing 737 MAX 8 jetliners. All 346 people on the two planes were killed.
Yeah. Just terrific.
Yeah.
And here we are giving contracts to Boeing.
Yeah, got to get their commercials in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Ariel. It's disgraceful. So this is capitalism without guardrails.
Right.
You know, you wouldn't have a baseball game with no rules, right?
And again, it just seems like everything is just, there were principles and standards that I can kind of remember growing up that were discussed and dealt with in the press, and not anymore. Not anymore. No, our 24-hour news cycle TV shows are propaganda machines. They're completely propaganda machines. I try to watch them to try to know what they're talking about, but end up screaming. No matter if it's the CNN, MSNBC world, I'll scream at them, and then I'll go to the Fox News world and scream at them. So just different things to scream about, but they're both blatantly lying, and it's mostly what they're not covering. Who's covering the Yemen bombings? No one. We bombed a hospital. I mean, they don't. We're not covering any of it.
Well, and you can, when you start comparing and contrasting, you can see the bubbles. You can see them. All you got to do is be in a room where both things are playing, Fox and like MSNBC. They're doing the same shtick, just different bubble.
Right.
Remove this part and put this in here. And you were going to talk about the bond crisis, bond market.
Oh, maybe I was thinking that it was kind of a breaking news, but I guess everybody's been covering it. Is that so? Trump did his stupid tariff idea, and some of the memes were great because he put tariffs on countries that don't have, like, there's nobody out there, so they were making penguin memes. So I thought those were cute, but basically, the stock market starts to crash, and there's the side story of insider trading probably going on. But I guess what really made Trump back off was the bond market, because the bond market is an indicator of the stability of the U.S. government. That's why you would put money in the bond market, because that the U.S. government will pay you back with the interest. So that's the stable place. And it's always been the stable place. And this time it wasn't. And they were selling off the bond market. No one wanted to buy it. It was crashing. And that means, in terms of the stock market world, the Wall Street world, that means the collapse of the U.S. government. So they freaked out, and Trump gave in and took away most of his tariffs. He's still keeping to the China because they still have this idea. Well, unfortunately, they have plans to go to war with China. And so that's going to be a huge, huge thing we're going to have to fight. But basically, it was the bond market that did it. That's what made
it. China owns a lot of our bonds. Like, do they even understand what they're doing?
Oh my God.
And here's an example from my memory banks. Nader Nancy Pelosi went to Taiwan to try to gin up some hatred.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
She broke Chinese law about being a representative in Taiwan, and there is the one China policy in, even in our administration, we do recognize China as Taiwan being a part of China. But it's another thing they're trying to gin up. They want to, again, we have psychos running our government. They are going to let Netanyahu convince us to go to war with Iran, and then the other neocons have had their sights set on China, and it's Russia, China, Iran. Those are the three. And
Russia, like a Brady Bunch. Russia.
Exactly. It's those three that our U.S. government has been obsessed with destroying, because we have to be number one. We were number one post World War II, and we want to stay that way, but it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. China's been smart. China's been smart for decades and decades. It's going to be a little side, but I just wanted to say something about, one of the problems with the left is all this, like, I'm a communist, I'm a socialist, I'm a blah, 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 all this kind of set in stone ideas, and you have to be for these principles. Otherwise you're, purity test kind of stuff. And you think about, okay, the Communist Party of China, and they run, the government. We don't have to be communists. We just have to be enough communists, right? China's not communist, but they're enough communists to make it stable. You don't have to, spend your lives worrying about next month's rent. You don't, banking is government based. You're not being, killed here and there with fees and late fees and all this. It's a service. Like the post office is a service. Imagine a bank being a service, right? And these things aren't horrifically scary. I mean, the word communism scares everybody, but the point is, you don't have to be communist. You don't have to change the entire thing. You can, if we just need some, right? Well, we need healthcare. Yeah. We need communist healthcare. That's what we need.
Well,
right?
And people confuse it to being, anti-American. It's just an economic system.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with democracy.
No.
Or being a republic. Our capitalist system has winners and losers. And when that's the system of the country, part of your population are losers. And the longer you allow it to continue unrestrained, which is where we are, the larger and larger amount of the population will suffer.
We're gonna talk a little later about the VA, and
I think VA. That's right after this clip. But yeah.
Oh, great. Okay, good segue then, because the VA that's what we want. That's government health care. Even Medicare is a bit of a insurance kind of a situation. Yeah. VA is, we've got communist healthcare. Yay.
Well, and veterans love it. Veterans that have it,
yes, love
the VA.
Right.
And they're cutting into that too. But well, one last thing.
Okay.
Different economic ideas. You don't have to buy the whole package. You can like, oh, I'd love this piece. Can we make it work for us here?
Right.
What's worked in another country. We don't have to copy them, because, America is not first, unless you're talking about we're in the top 10 of some bad things.
Yeah, we're always at the top of the bad one.
But you don't have to like buy the whole package. You can say, I like this idea. How do we make it work for our economy and our people? We have very intelligent people in this country that, the Green Party has it all over their platform. But go ahead with Caitlin Johnstone. Oh, I'm sorry, Scott. Did you have?
Well, I just wanted to say one more thing while you talk about that. It's like I'm very conspiracy theory oriented, so I even don't trust the left with the people. And when they say we must get rid of private health insurance, because all that does is get people to react. Don't take away what I've got. That almost seems like a way to not make progress when you argue it that way. Public option is absolutely good enough, because if we had a really well-funded public option, a really high-quality, well-funded public option, the capitalist system would implode. I mean, we could have private health insurance out there, and it would go up into $10,000 a month for your policy because everybody's going over to the public option.
But not for basic life-saving healthcare. There needs to be a system that will take care of your health issues, and private insurance could be like the Cadillac plan. Like, I'm going to go get my teeth whitened, or
Right.
I want cosmetic surgery, or, I need a liposuction because I feel too fat, that kind of stuff. That's what private health insurance should be for.
And the arguments they have, oh, well, yeah, it works in those smaller countries like, Denmark, and then, but, it wouldn't work on our scale. China is 4 billion people.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Shut up with that nonsense, right?
I mean,
well, go ahead,
anyway.
Ariel.
Iran poses no threat to you or your country. The Houthis pose no threat to you or your country. Hamas poses no threat to you or your country. Hezbollah poses no threat to you or your country. They only pose a threat to a genocidal apartheid state which does not deserve to exist. The Daily Mail reports that Trump is preparing to bomb Iran with Israel. I don't know how accurate the report is, but I do know that lately such forecasts about insane U.S. warmongering in the Middle East have had an annoying habit of proving true.
If you all remember John McCain in the 2008 race.
Okay.
He was caught on camera singing "Bomb Iran" to Barbara Ann.
Right.
Yeah,
I know
this has been like their wet dream for like forever.
And they think it's such a joke, and McCain, he was also part of, these people, he was part of the Ukraine thing. He was down there for the Maidan coup, the violent neo-Nazi Maidan coup. He was cheering it on. So these folks, our Congress people are the sick, and our senators are the sickest
we
people.
got the worst people.
We really do.
The worst people imaginable. And that's why we're here at the Green Party, because we have some of the best people. Y'all just got to give us a chance, man. It ain't going to happen overnight, but the more power we gain, like say the Congress is almost completely divided, right? Like 50-50 split between the R's and the D's.
Yeah.
You get enough Greens in there that neither one of them can pass anything.
Yeah.
And then they got to come talk to us, and they'll have to make concessions, unlike the Progressive Caucus that never demands anything.
No.
The Freedom Caucus showed them the playbook, but the progressives are too chicken to use it.
Right.
Well,
no, the Green, Freedom Caucus, they shut down that house. They did. They actually got their demand. I don't know how long their demands lasted, but they had some effective change. It was not the kind of change we want, but
yeah, but you got to use your leverage.
Yeah.
When you have it, you got to use it. Progressive Democrats don't understand that, or
they don't know. We
they're
can't give them credit. No, they don't want to. That's in the plan. That it's all been. Yeah, they put on a show. It's not that they don't understand or they can't or they're weak.
I was being generous.
Yeah, don't.
I need to quit that.
These people genocide. Genocide. These are not good people. Yeah.
If you got a D behind your name as a politician, you approve of genocide. That is
right.
The D is a stand for death.
Right. There you go.
It's the death cult, baby.
Yeah. As our R's, we just need a good word for R. What is that?
I don't know. I make these things up on the spot.
Come on, audience, give us a good R word for death cult.
Repression. I don't know.
Oh, stronger.
No, that's not stronger. Well, I got one,
anyway.
but I probably shouldn't say. Anyway,
okay.
I could sue for defamation.
Well.
Yeah. So I like to segment Trump finishing the job isn't just about Gaza, because he wants to get them all out of there and make them safe and blah blah blah, so they can build their luxury hotels and crap and drill for oil or whatever. They just want to rape it.
Yeah. There you go.
I know. I wouldn't go.
There's an R word for you.
Plunder and pillage. Yeah. But yeah, you want to put up the thing about the VA? So here's part of the destruction of things that actually work. This is from Counterpunch. Veterans VA healthcare is being threatened by John Ketwig. Veterans who get their healthcare from the VA actually, the cabinet level Department of Veterans Affairs, need to be aware that the Trump administration is quietly working to privatize the healthcare facet. Veterans Health Administration of the VA, or VHA of the VA. Let me move forward.
And again, I'm just going to add, this has been going on for a while. So this was during Biden era too. I remember when I can't remember when they closed the VA downtown Chicago. That might have been Obama era. So no, they've been after this forever.
Oh yeah, it's a privatization,
Yep.
scheme. Because I was talking to somebody. I used to deliver to some naval bases when I worked in San Diego.
Okay.
And I remember this guy's like, "Oh, it's great. My doctor. I can go see my doctor. Blah blah blah. I don't have to drive." It's because they underfunded it. But here we go. In May of 2014, it was alleged that 40 veterans had died while waiting for appointments at the VHA hospital in Phoenix, Arizona. This claim was soon disproven, but investigation revealed that the management at the hospital had created a policy of awarding bonuses to hospital employees who misrepresented appointment times. The resulting scandal led to the Veterans Access, Choice, and Accountability Act of 2014, a three-year trial program known as Veterans Choice, and that is what I was referring to. That was 2014.
Obama then, right?
Who was in charge?
Obama, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
Based upon the very real circumstances wherein many veterans lived a sizable distance from the nearest VHA facility, and some of those facilities lacked the equipment or professional staff to deal with the veteran's unique medical or mental status, the Choice Program allowed a private vendor company to assign those vets to obtain care at a private or for-profit provider with payment to that provider to come out of the VA's budget. At least one of the vendor companies initiated a policy of paying the civilian providers exactly half of what they had billed and putting the other half in their own corporate coffers. And I just, that's good. Y'all can read the rest, but one thing I do want to comment: VA doctors and nurses, they are trained especially for what war veterans have to go through. Especially, the mental health aspect. And instead of investing in the VA and getting, more hospitals built and hiring more doctors and nurses, this is what they do. They privatize it so then it won't work.
Right. Underfunded, which means understaffed, which means people complain, and then give them the opportunity to do I like how they call it, choice. Yeah. To give them a private option so that's where, they want to dismantle it. They want to dismantle this entire government. That's for sure.
So I don't know if we did a thing for the U.S. Capitol switchboard. Good luck getting through, but that's the minimum amount of what you can do. They fired 80,000 VA workers.
Oh my God.
80,000 to a understaffed program.
Right.
And that's what's going on with the post office too. But this is this isn't just a service. This is the care of our veterans that we say, freedom isn't free and, support the troops and Like, I'm calling bullshit.
Yeah, no. It's really serious. That's what has happening in this government. It is privatization. It is complete privatization of all aspects. And you know what that means? That means money goes to a CEO and money goes to shareholders, and it becomes profit. Profit becomes the point. And we know what happens in the private health insurance industry. One little side note: I'm doing my taxes. And, the sick thing about this country is that they find every way that they can possibly tax you. You're taxed on your tax. And then so I was on the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare stuff. And so that system, instead of Obama giving us a public option, he went with a private option. So the plans are so expensive that our government gives, like, I can remember it one year, it was like $1,400 a month to Blue Cross Blue Shield, right? So the government is giving money to a private company to give me health insurance. I get taxed on that $1,400 a month. They set up a plan like a public option. It's a private one. I get taxed on the money they're sending over to Blue Cross Blue Shield. How sick is that?
Yeah,
How
and for a
sick is
while,
that?
weren't we getting fined if we didn't have health insurance?
Yeah, they tried that one for a while, right?
Yeah,
But,
I guess that got repealed. So
yeah. But no. I mean, it's sick. It's sick. I mean, getting taxed on your Social Security is sick. Getting taxed.
and your Medicare.
Medicare.
You paid it already,
Sick.
dude. Like, so when we say Medicare for all, we don't mean the Medicare we have.
Yeah, right.
We mean the Medicare that we've already paid for our entire lives.
Oh my God.
And if you're a working person, you're paying into that system. But once you retire, those payments should stop. I mean, I talk to my aunt a lot, and she's, I love her. She's boomer generation, nothing against boomers, but there's a certain segment of boomers that's like, what are you going to do? What do you want me to do? I'm like, anything. Call people, complain, get involved with your community. Like my dad's street, he complains about people speeding down the street. I'm like, get a hold of your local government and the roads people and put a dang speed bump in there. It'll stop. Like I can't listen to a complaint without thinking of a solution. And that's what we got to train our brains to do.
Right.
Like, okay, this is the problem. What is the solution?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we can move on to the next thing. Yeah, ScheerPost. Fake populism, how Trump's billionaire admin serves the rich and hurts everyone else. So I can read a little bit.
Okay.
My reading skills are not the best on here, but I'm trying. When Donald Trump campaigned to be U.S. president in 2024, he promised he would help working class Americans. He even did a photo op at the McDonald's, pretending to be a fast food worker. When he returned to the White House, however, Trump made it clear that his policies would be serving a small handful of billionaire oligarchs, not the majority of the country. Just look at the inauguration, that tells you. Trump appointed 13 billionaires as top officials in his administration. A Public Citizen reported, this means that the Trump administration represents not just the 1% richest Americans, but the 0.0001%. The billionaires in the Trump administration, including Elon Musk, the world's richest person, which has access to all of our money, by the way, had a combined wealth of more than $460 billion as of January 2025. Trump invited the world's most powerful oligarchs into his inauguration. The billionaire CEOs of Silicon Valley big tech corporations symbolically sat with his cabinet members. Then just a few hours after he took office, Trump invited 3 more billionaire oligarchs to the White House, including OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, to do a press conference about artificial intelligence. As president, Trump has held regular meetings and phone calls with his billionaire supporters, including Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager. Fink personally called Trump to ask the White House to help BlackRock buy the ports on both sides of the Panama Canal.
Right.
So when something crazy's happened, just look around for a billionaire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is, by the way, just to try to block China. I heard a really, really good piece. I can't remember which program it was on. I'll try to remember and say it, but it was about how, so this whole thing with Greenland, the Panama Canal, this is all about trying to block Chinese shipping ports. So this is another way that they're trying to get at China. Again, why can't we just work on our own things and improve things? All we do is try to ruin everybody else's. But it's just, that's what that's about. And again, it isn't, we talk in terms of so that the U.S. can control Panama. It never is. It's BlackRock can control Panama. We give everything away to CEOs of corporations.
Mhm.
We give it all away. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like Jordan says, it's the United Corporations of America.
That's great. Yes.
Yeah, I love that he does that.
Yeah, that's a good one. Right. And
Status quo, Jordan Sheridan. Yeah.
and we'll have to see, MAGA folks are so devoted to their, leader, but we'll see they were pretty strongly anti-war. It was the whole globalism thing. It was keep things at home, and we'll see. I mean, now there are talks with Iran, I think. And so we'll have to see how those go. But, when Netanyahu was here, I mean, it's sick that, we don't arrest him. He was saying that, a good thing for the Iran would be the Syrian option. And Trump didn't say anything. The Syrian option means, bomb, sodomize and kill the leader. That's what the Syrian I mean, I'm not Syria. I'm sorry, Libyan. He said the Libyan option. Sorry.
Yeah, Gaddafi.
Gaddafi, right. And that's exactly what he meant. I mean, it wasn't even coded or anything. That's what he meant by the Libyan option.
Yeah.
And Trump seems to be doing whatever Netanyahu wants. So this is a super dangerous time.
Yeah, he's a puppet. Just look behind him and see whose hand is up his back.
Yeah.
And I learned, posthumously, unfortunately, because I wasn't as politically aware as I am now, that Gaddafi went before the UN and said, why is this not working for all of us? Why are there certain countries that have more power than others? Why does the UN have a Security Council with veto power? It just gives rich, imperialist countries the power to screw over the rest of the world.
Yeah, no.
What's united about that?
Gaddafi wanted to start an African currency. That's why Hillary Clinton just said, we got to go in there and destroy him because of a African currency. It's all about the petrodollar. That's what, that's right. And Libya was like one of the most successful countries in the area. I mean, they had free healthcare. It was, an excellent country. And now it's a open slave market. I mean, it's disaster.
So this is what we do around the world, people. Our government is not a good force in the world. And I'm sorry, it's the American people's fault.
It is.
We allowed it.
And they still love Hillary Clinton. They still love Hillary Clinton.
That woman gives me the heebie-jeebies, man.
It's sick. She murdered 50,000 Libyans and they love her.
Well, we got to get past this thing of just because you're a woman or just because you're of some race or ethnicity or whatever. It's not just that. That's wonderful. You got to bring the content, though. You got to have the right policies, because if you're a woman supporting the militarism and the death and destruction around the world, you're not the right woman for the job.
And Democrats, they were really slow to figure out that, that is the tactic they could use and they're going to run with it for decades, but right. It doesn't help, just because a person fits a certain category. And, and if people don't remember, the Democrats, before they figured that out, that they could use that, they were anti-gay. I mean, Hillary Clinton said famously, a marriage is between a man and a woman. And, but they didn't allow that to be talked about in the 2016 run for president. It's just, then they figured it out and they milked it for everything it was worth. And they used it in the worst way possible. So, right, they have a black woman running for president. So how dare you not vote for her? She's the worst candidate they've ever seen, but that doesn't matter. That does not matter. She's a black woman, so you have to vote for her. And if you don't, you're a racist and a sexist. And they're still pushing that. They're still pushing that idea that people didn't vote for her because she was black. Oh my God.
Unfortunately, I voted for Obama.
Yeah.
And I voted for Jill. So
a woman. There you go.
I voted for a black man and I voted for a white woman. So that throws that in the trash. Yeah. I didn't vote for Kamala, whatever her name is, because she's a genocider.
Right.
And she didn't promise anything but, self-congratulatory, backslapping bullshit. I don't know what was she talking about. She was at some press conference and they recorded her. She's like, "I told you so."
Oh, right. Right.
And I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like, oh, it's really funny that people are, hurting and starving, and bombs are still flying, and if you would have voted for me, the bombs would have still been flying, but I wouldn't have been quite as bad as Trump. I just would have been terrible.
Oh God.
I mean, that's her saying that. I think she would have been as bad, but they like to slow walk it.
Yeah. I mean, when things are this bad, really, 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 really bad, and worse with Trump, it's like things are horrific with Democrats. They're just worse with the Republicans. I mean, but it doesn't make it okay. You can't, people have to stop accepting this stuff. I still can't believe they love that they can pick one or two Democrats that match their ideology, that they can find a couple of them out of the hundreds and hundreds of Democrats. They're good enough with like one or two. Why is that acceptable to you? Why do you? It's astounding. I mean, Thomas Massey, he's probably the best one out there. He's a Republican.
Yeah. But he doesn't take APAC money, and he, he's like, I think he's probably libertarian, but in
I
like,
would guess. Yeah.
I mean, and there's a range of ideology. I don't really know that much about him, but some of the stuff he says, I don't mind.
Right.
But here's one thing I will say: why the Democrats actually are worse. Okay, because I love to slam them. The loser Dems, they're losers. Well, they manage to snatch losses out of the jaws of victory all the time. But if Kamala Harris would have won, all these rallies wouldn't have happened. All these people were like, "Oh, it's fine now. I can go back to brunch. I can go back to get my spa day and get my hair done and my nails, get my massage, and just go back to work and have my nice little life." But because Trump won, we're in the street.
That was that one around this week, a meme. I should have grabbed it because somebody they proudly had that sign. If Kamala was president, I'd be at brunch. And they thought that was cool. They thought that was like really this great thing, really stabbing it to them. That is the perfect liberal Democrat.
Irony is like
they don't even get. Again, what does it say? It says that you're cool with Palestinian children being slaughtered. I don't think that's nothing to be proud of, but somehow they seem to think that
you're cool with your tax dollars being used to murder innocent people around the world, not just Gaza.
Right.
And you were talking about Syria earlier. Well, Palestine was one of the most highly educated places in the world.
Oh, God, it was beautiful. I've seen now where they're floating pictures around of Palestine in the 40s and 30s. Oh, my God, that place. Gorgeous.
Well, even after the apartheid, because that's all they had.
Okay.
So they invested in themselves and they learned how to do things. And that's why they're so hard to defeat, because they know how to do things. They are very intelligent and compassionate and wonderful people.
Well, I just hope I think everybody, I'm going to try to start a trend to have everybody have Yemen flags on their Facebook profiles. Go Yemen. Oh my God. I love Yemen.
I have our little sunflower, and just a reminder, $26. Okay.
Well, yes. Well, yes, we need that too. But I mean, they're the only country that's fighting. They're the only country fighting against apartheid. I mean, none of those Arab countries they're not. Oh, I have a little graphic. Can I break protocol and add this graphic? Is that okay?
Protocol.
I'm going to do it.
See, this is how Greens are. We just roll with the,
In a world filled with colonial doormats, be a Yemen. I had that on my Facebook profile because I absolutely love it. It is perfect. Be a Yemen. I mean, it's wonderful to see a brave country. I mean, taking on America. I mean, they. I mean, go to Yemen military on Twitter. I mean, it's great. I'm afraid for them, but good for them. Good for them for taking on this.
But the more countries that do that, the harder it will be to control. This is what I'm saying. I know there was a sign up to try to get the countries of the world to go physically stop what's happening. But so just beware, because I've been in this game for a minute, and signing a petition, you have to know who you're signing it for, because that's fine, but petitions don't get the job done anymore, because our government has completely ignored our wishes. They know what we want, they just refuse to do it. So we don't own our government anymore. And if you click through to donate to somewhere, so do this, like, wow, this looks great, okay, go to the donate button, the donut button. Wish there was a donut button.
Oh God, I'd be pushing it all the time. Bad idea.
If it says Act Blue, they are cool
really
with the
bad idea.
genocide of the Democratic Party.
I hate blue donuts. Okay, I hate blue donuts.
I'm a Boston cream kind of girl.
Oh, okay.
Glazed, a fresh glazed donut. Anyway, segue into the next part, I guess.
I think if I just want to add a little thing, I talk about, brag on Russia and China all the time. At some point, I do have I get it. China hasn't dropped a bomb in 40 years, and they've done wonderful things with their country. But I do have an issue with countries who won't help out. I mean, this is a genocide where they're slaughtering people. And, I think Russia should have helped Syria more. I'm not totally into those countries, people, really.
Well, it's more of that we should respect other countries' autonomy, as long as they're not breaking international law. And, if it wasn't for us, a lot of this stuff wouldn't be happening. Russia would never have invaded Ukraine.
Right. Of course. No, but right. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. No. We are the evil of the world. But the thing is, who's going to stop this evil?
Well, that's perfect that you should bring that up.
Oh,
because our next segment is about. Go ahead, Ariel.
There we go. General strike for Palestine. So yeah, we and it's been interesting. This when we came up with Edie and I came up with this concept a few months back, and we were just thinking, people aren't liking it because they don't even like the term general strike, and they think it's union, and they, everybody was giving us these bad vibes. Oh, it's not going to, This time, April 7th, this was really being picked up. And I'm not going to say that it was us. It was just maybe coincidentally. But, the Palestine Action Group was doing one on April 7th. It got a lot of press. It was global. I went actually to all the social medias of the organization, and you might have to help me with it. It was Palestine Information or something that was pushing this on April 7th. And I was putting this graphic there, and I was saying, we got to make it monthly. We got to make it monthly. So that was Edie's idea to do that. And it's brilliant. And so the 7th of every month.
It's English.palinfo.com news.
Okay. Yeah. Palestinian Information or something. Yeah.
Palinfo.
So yeah, we are demanding of the U.S. government in terms of, can we stop this government? We want to demand an immediate arms embargo on Israel, stop the killing and ethnic cleansing in Gaza, stop the siege of the West Bank, force Israel to dismantle its apartheid system. They have a complete apartheid system in that country with checkpoints. People can't walk through the country. Every stop, they are stopped at checkpoints. End Israel's occupation of Palestine. So what we want folks to do is make no purchases on that day, post general strike info on social media and information about Palestine and Gaza. And I was doing that all April 7th. Call in sick for work if you can. Stay home from school if you can. Those are two actions that, will not be successful until we get huge numbers. But we saw a huge growth just on April 7th. In terms of this, we were all by ourselves before that, but now this is getting bigger. So
yeah, and I would say, I get it. People have been trained to think of a strike as a union striking against their boss.
Yeah,
but a general strike is not that, in my opinion, because 90% of the workers in this country are not union. So how are you going to do that?
Then there are students, there are retired people. There's plenty of people who don't have jobs, let alone union jobs. Right.
Yeah. If you don't have a job, do those things. Like on April 7th, I basically stayed home.
Yeah.
I didn't buy anything.
Right.
I didn't spend any money. It's not so hard. And another thing I'm thinking too, which kind of takes us to the next part. a general strike, if we keep striking for all the things that we want, I mean, like, listen, let's stop bombing Gaza. Let's, in the war machine. I mean, because it's bigger than just Gaza, of course. There's the Congo and all. God only knows how many, and I want universal health care. I want, tuition free college. Like, pick your poison, like, what are we not getting that we feel that we should be getting? And we get 31 of those. It'll be every day of the month. And then there you go. Then it'll be the next graphic.
And I'm going to quickly say, well, the graphic. Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah.
It's a screen share.
So that was another organization that's doing a strike. Now, that's right. In overall general, many, many issues. And generalstrikeus.com. So, yeah. And theirs is not the 7th of every month, but it is just because it's not Palestine.
But here's what they're doing, which I think is wonderful. So what you do is you sign your strike card. I've signed mine. They've already had 323,926 people committed to striking. They're going for 3.5% of the population. So they need another 10,676,074 people.
Okay.
So just sign it,
Yeah.
A general strike is when working people refuse their labor until demands are met.
Yeah. And I think that, that's one of the great things that's happening is that general strike awareness is really on the rise. People now are starting to be familiar with the term. So there will come a time when this will have an effect. I am sure of that now because it is growing.
Yeah. And research shows we need 3.5% of the population, or 11 million Americans, to be successful. The strike card below tracks our progress, so we will all know when it's time to strike. And another thing they're doing is, I don't know where, is creating strike funds. Individuals are putting up strike funds, and it's decentralized. So, and I would highly advise to use caution, because I will never, ever, 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 ever donate to Act Blue again because I don't support the Democratic Party.
Yeah, I went through this. This seemed very independent.
Have meetings.
Yeah, this seemed very independent.
Yeah, it's decentralized. Nobody's in charge of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, attend a meeting. Is there one today? Oh no, there's one tomorrow. There we go. Let's go. Well, I guess I know what I'm doing tomorrow.
There you go.
As long as it doesn't interfere with my protest, or maybe I should just do both. Oh, it's at night, so it's fine. Yeah, so many meetings, so little time, right? But so you got to kind of think of your actions of. I look at mine as what lever can I pull for the most effect?
Okay.
And this is the lever, y'all. This one, because what do billionaires care about?
Money.
There you go.
Yeah. No, right. No, we have to take action that's going to have an effect. Right. And, as we saw with the little, silly tariffs thing that Trump did, when the bond market started to crash, boy, they got in line. So, and I just want to add, I hope that, we were talking about, how hopefully the MAGA folks, they're devoted, but hopefully they're going to see through his crap. I mean, he used to, early on, right when I got in, he wanted to call up Russia and China and agree to cut everyone's military budget in half. Do you remember that one? Mm-hmm. It happened on one day. And now he's announcing, and he's so excited, he's going to up the military budget to $1 trillion. And he's so proud of it. So I hope.
So he's a windsock, y'all. He's a hand puppet. Yeah. Whatever way the money's blowing. I mean, what happened to these? I've got really good friends that are Trump supporters, and well, he's the only one that said he's gonna audit the Pentagon. I haven't heard anything about that lately.
No, that ain't happening.
No, they're auditing Social Security.
Yeah.
And firing the VA and firing people out of it so they can break it, so they can privatize it, so those billionaires can make some cash.
Yeah.
It's a ruse, y'all.
At our expense.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And cutting the IRS a few years back. You know what that enabled to happen, right? They still come after some, regular people.
Right, the small folks.
But the billionaires and the millionaires with the fancy ass lawyers,
Right.
they're gonna leave them alone because they can't afford it. They don't have the people, they don't have the manpower. So it's just more line in your own pocket there.
Right.
I think I love titling my segments. Scott's not
Go
a
for
fan,
it.
but I
No,
like him.
it's fine. It's fine.
Oh, well, that was the global strike.
Yeah.
It was on Monday.
Yep.
I was really excited when I saw that.
Yeah, no, that was great, especially to see it on the 7th. I was like, oh no.
I
hope
think it's
that
just in the bloodstream.
Yeah. No, that was great. That was really, really cool.
Yeah, but my next segment, number 7, is Don't Give In to the Fear campaign. So you want to play that, Caitlin?
The Gaza Holocaust is happening right in front of us. It's like if everyone in Nazi Germany had screens in their homes, broadcasting exactly what was happening inside the extermination camps the entire time. Nobody can say they didn't know. That claim does not exist for us.
Yep. I'm sorry. I guess I heard that clip. I read it earlier because it really strikes at the heart of everything to me.
Yeah.
And 7B, Columbia students are standing up. It's not the time to be afraid anymore. Columbia students fight back against deportation threats.
Yeah.
Our colleges. Here's what they don't get. This is how short-sighted these idiots are. These people in these, in these universities and colleges aren't thinking about if you bend the knee to what's happening, where will it stop? Because they're threatening your money now, but what you don't understand is how much of your budget comes from international students. If we become a silo and nobody has any money, how you going to run your organization? And you already bent over for the government, so they're not going to help you out. They're trying to destroy you. And why are you letting it happen?
Right.
You should be defending those students.
Yeah.
You should be saying, no, you cannot come on my campus, and no, I will not comply. But anyway.
Well, no, it just shows what these private industries are. They're just, they're like substitute banks. I mean, teaching kids is not anything they're at least interested in at all. They could care less about teaching kids anything. No, they're investment organizations. That's all they are.
And all they're going to do, I mean, they got the NYPD on campus.
Right.
Yeah, they've been trained by the IDF, y'all. So you might as well be inviting the IOF, by the way. But go back to that picture though. I want people to really look at it and think about this, okay? If you know your history a little bit, I don't know the date, but Neil Young wrote a song about 4 dead in Ohio.
Yeah, that was in '68, I think.
Yeah, I actually met a guy. It was another vendor when I used to drive a truck. He was there. And it ended his activism because, people peacefully, unarmed, demonstrating against the war were shot dead.
Actually, very side note, but I'm a musician, so I follow this stuff. They interviewed the mothers-in-laws from Devo, and they said that event is what really started them on their kind of musical path because because they were so... they went to that school, and I'm forgetting which one it was, but it was in Ohio. And how they just, you sell these things as entertainment, but there's a real underside, serious concept to Devo. And it's kind of what we're talking about, the de-evolution, right? That we are on a downward trajectory. Mm-hmm. And boy, do you see it now. I mean, what a downward trajectory we're on.
But there's another part. It's kind of like this is crumbling, but there's another part rising up at the same time.
Well, I hope.
Yeah.
I hope. We've got some barriers. We've got, people who follow the Democratic Party that mean well, but they don't see the big picture, what's going on. And they're not willing to listen to other voices. They don't trust the other voices because voice, because it's not Rachel Maddow. Okay. And,
by the way, she's not a journalist.
God.
No journalists make millions and millions of dollars. Ask Chris Hedges about that thing.
She just got sued. Well, I don't know if maybe, is it a timely story? She got no. Well, the lawsuit may have been, but she did a piece during the first Trump administration where they uncorroborated where some nurse was complaining about a doctor um, at the ICE detention center where they had giving medical care,
Mm-hmm.
and they called him an ovary stealer, and he would go in and do hysterectomies, and it was all just lies. I don't know, maybe it was some nurse who was trying to get revenge or something, who knows, but it was all lies. And then so Rachel, even in the court case, Rachel was like, well, do we have like any backup knowledge that this is true? And then like 5 minutes she's later, let's lead with it, let's go. So she did this case about a doctor, and it just happened coincidentally that the lawyer of that doctor watches the Rachel Maddow show. And so he blew up. They sued. They settled out of court at millions. They sued for 30 million. I don't know how much they got. But yeah, Rachel Maddow is
They should have sued for her resignation on top of it.
Yeah. No, oh God, never, never. No, and what's sad again, it really points. I've been watching her a little bit because she does some good. She organizes things well. Her anti-Trump stuff is excellent. And then she goes off on a tangent with Russia. She's got to go to Russia. You know, these people who think Pussy Riot is some great band. People, her lead story the other night was Pussy Riot. It's like, you guys, these folks are CIA funded. I mean, it is true. I know it sounds weird, but like, no, the CIA goes into all kinds of arts to try to influence. Public Enemy, Chuck D, he's CIA. I mean, that they do that everywhere. And, it's a lie that people can't protest in Russia. They do. It just happened that most of the people, the vast majority of the people, wanted Putin to go in. They were pissed he hadn't gone in earlier because their family members were being killed by the right-wing neo-Nazi Ukrainian government. They'd been killing the ethnic Russians in the Donbass. And, the ties between Russia and Ukraine have gone on for decades and decades and decades. I mean, that's just, so... But no, Russia, the reason Rachel gets the big money is because she's a really effective presenter of information. And they know that when it comes to foreign policy shit, she's going to go at the neocons and give that neocon message to people that would otherwise be okay. I mean, it's amazing. Look at what they've done to Democrat liberal people. They've turned them into pro-NATO. They want hands off NATO. These people cheer on NATO, who slaughtered people in Yugoslavia, slaughtered people in Libya. I mean, they're a horrific organization, and they support them. I mean, it's sad.
Yeah, and they are the reason that all the dead people in Ukraine happened.
Yeah. Why Ukrainian may not exist because all their men are gone. Almost all their men are gone of age 18
it's so bad that they're
45.
kidnapping them off the street, and then they've got video footage of people being snatched unwillingly to take them to the front to fight, and then you also see people getting punched in the face in their bunks,
and
they just want literal cannon fodder, go ahead. I was trying to
no, I'm getting off topic. It's
all on topic, dude.
I mean, we are, yeah, right. It's all tied together. Really, it is all tied together. And like you were saying, people are waking up. I wish it was fast at a faster rate, but people are waking up. We are getting people who are finally seeing through the Democratic Party. And hopefully we're going to get some people who will give up on the Trump facade. And because, we got to save this country before it goes under, because it seems like it's going under. I don't know. And then, and then with on top of all that, the thing that may do us in is climate catastrophe. Because the day when the food supply chains start to collapse, oh my God.
Well, and that's why pouring oil into farmland is such a good idea.
Yeah, totally great. Totally great. And again, that's not American oil. They say they're going to do some refining in certain places, but most of that oil goes right out from Canada down to the Gulf of Mexico.
We're the pass-through. Oh,
right.
We're Mexico.
I know. I got to watch the Weather Channel because stupid Fox Weather says Gulf of America. You stupid bitch. Stupid. The Gulf of America. Oh my God.
Yeah. What? There's the bootlickers.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring up the next part.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. It's all good.
Yeah.
So this is my very best friend, Yvonne Scott. How we ended the empire without firing a shot.
Mm.
I highly recommend that you go into her Substack and sign up. She writes from the heart. She's been with me through thick and thin. We went to DC together. I feel so fortunate. She came to my first solo art show at the library, and I paint a lot of ocean scenery. And she just came in, and she just looked at the stuff, and she looked right in my face, and she's like, "So what's with the ocean in the Midwest?" I'm like, "I love you already. I love you already.
funny.
You went straight for what you wanted to know, pulled no punches.
There you
It wasn't
go.
in an unkind manner, but it was like, this is what I need to know. I don't get it, And we've been friends ever since.
And
But,
her Substack is called 3 a.m. if you look for it on.
Yeah, it's 3 a.m. She says, that's what I pray for every day. That moment when we wake from this dystopian nightmare and realize that we did it. We managed to shut down the fascist tyrants, pull their satanic claws from around our throats, and walk out of our prison of denial and delusion holding hands with our neighbors. I can see it. I have always been able to see it. It's also why I can wake up some mornings in tears over the death and destruction and lies and corruption that continue. And as more and more people are awakening to the horrific genocide in Palestine, to the dismantling of our Constitution, a muskrat gnawing away at all the safeguards and protections of our laws, and the egomaniac faking a presidency to become king. I follow astrology, and even if you're a total skeptic, there are some moments in celestial time that reveal similar conjunctions or other astral events to foreshadow what may be in store for us. The planet Neptune entered the sign of Aries on March 30th, a day after a partial solar eclipse. The last time Neptune entered Aries, it stays in a sign for about 14 years, was April 1861, just one day before the Civil War broke out. Oops.
Wow. Interesting.
So I highly recommend that you go subscribe. And if you can, you don't have to pay, but I'm sure she would appreciate you helping her out there. And she's just brilliant. She's done a lot of things in her life. She's a fantastic person.
And I think that positive message we do need, because I've been really down this whole show. And yes, there is the possibilities. We do have to, the best thing about it is that we're humans and that we could, we can get things done. We can make things happen. It is possible. And that's why we're here at the Green Party, without a doubt. That's why we're here. And
I mean, what do they say? Well, I'm such a movie buff, but the names are escaping me right now. It's the one with Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin. Where they're in the wilderness, and then Anthony Hopkins finds out that Alec Baldwin was going to murder him.
Okay.
And they have to fight this big bear. And Anthony Hopkins is like, what one man can do, another can do.
There you go.
So it's been done before. We just have to learn from our predecessors.
Right.
And one man or woman or person, however you want to say it. That was specific to the movie. God, I wish I could think of it.
Oh, I love.
My memory's just bad lately.
I highly recommend the podcast called Revolutions, because he goes through all the different revolutions, and it was fascinating. I think I've talked about this before. That the French one was long and bloody, and just, oh my God, the guillotines were flying, and it was just a really brutal. This 1917 Lenin revolution, actually, like, people were out kind of going to the bars and clubs, but then going outside to kind of check because they knew something was happening. So it wasn't like this massive, like, bloody destruction. Yeah. It really wasn't. It was kind of something that just happened, and like, there were some spectators.
Yeah, Ariel remembered the movie. It's called The Edge.
Oh, okay.
It's fantastic. It's got a great scene with this huge bear. Yeah.
But no, there. Yeah, I think what is it? Right? I think you said like only 3% is needed in terms of the population to have revolutionary change. I think there's
Yeah,
some like stat out there
yeah,
that no, we don't
3.5%. And
have to.
Nader talks about it all the time.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know, Ralph Nader. But we want to move on. Okay, so ending on that positive note, Yvonne is envisioning our future,
There you go.
and this is how we get there. So how do we get there, Scott? Go green.
Well, we are doing a campaign and it is a signature pledge drive. So, what we want to do is we want to get people to commit. And you can commit now because you're not doing it until 2026. So, it's just to help us petition. And so, we will have a slate of 7 candidates plus some other candidates. But it's going to be a way that we can possibly reach ballot access in Illinois. Illinois ballot access is brutal, but with 7 they allow 7 candidates on one petition, so it's 7 campaigns going simultaneously to reach the goal. The minimum is 25,000. We will be challenged in court without a doubt by the Democrats, and so we want to look at about 50,000 signatures, plus then like the U.S. House is its own race, and signatures are gathered in that district. So that's what we're looking for. We want 260 people to sign up and petition and pledge to at least try to get 260 signatures. And from the period of March 26th to June 26th, and that turns out to be 20 signatures a week, and which is not bad. It's really doable. It really is. Like if you go out on the weekend, you go to like a art fair or food market or some, it's right in the time when everything starts happening outdoors. You can do it. It's doable. Both Ian and I did it for the Jill Stein, and so it's doable. So that's what we're looking for. There's a way to. I think. Do we have a link that we can send people
Oh,
to?
he's got it on the crawl right
There
there.
it is. 2026 signature pledge. So, or you go to ilgp.org. Right on the top is this graphic, and you can click on it, and it'll take you there too.
Just click this graphic on the website. It's the first thing you see.
Yep.
Because that is our strategy. And why is it important to to go petitioning?
Because so that we can get on the ballot. If we can get on the ballot with all these candidates, we will have a strong presence in Illinois in 2026. And our goal is, of course, to win elections, but we have got to make a presence. So this is our first big outing to try to get recognition. And also, the point of what we do is to get our message out. As you can tell by our show, there are hundreds of topics to cover. And that's why we like having the Green Party is the place where we can cover all of those things. I mean, it's great if a group is working on an individual item that's important. That's wonderful. But the Green Party is a place where you can do them all. Mm-hmm. And so that's why we're here. And we're lining up really, really amazing candidates. And we'll be announcing that some of the candidates at our spring convention. That's April 26th. Again, you can see that on our events page on ilgp.org. But it's April 26th in Chicago at the Sulzer Library, 4455 North Lincoln. We're going to run that from 10 to 4. So everybody's going to be hanging out. It'll be a really fun place to be. Edie and I will be there. And we recommend it's free, open to the public. You don't have to be a Green Party member. You can just come in and check it out.
We'd love to meet you all.
Yeah. No, it'll be a fun time. If you're in the Chicagoland area, you could do that. Mm-hmm. It would be great. So that's Saturday, April 26th. And check ilgp.org/events for all details. And we've got a whole bunch of events going on. So you can go to the events page and see everything that's happening.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We'll be announcing the candidates we have so far. And we'll also be doing training and possibly a little role playing or like going out and like with people that have done it before, like I have done it. Our chair or co-chair Anna Schiefelbein has done it to like get an example of how you go get a signature. And I mean, if you're not a people person, we need phone bankers and graphics and
Yeah,
so that's also on there.
Yeah.
We're doing a little revamp of our website to make that stuff a little easier to find. Hopefully in the next few weeks, it'll be like super cool because we got a wonderful guy that's working on it, Mr. Leo.
And Ian and I do a volunteer kind of a hangout a Zoom meeting every Thursday night at 8 p.m. So if you want to come to that and just say hi and check us out, that's, sometimes we're really organized and sometimes we're not. We just keep it open and just talk about things that we're working on. But certainly we bring up these things because these are the big things we're working on now. The signature pledge is big.
Yeah. It's an open format and it kind of depends how the meeting goes, who shows up.
Yeah.
If you show up and you got lots of questions or you need help with something that you don't understand, like we use Basecamp because it's encrypted. And if you can't figure out how it works or whatever, or can't get in there and you remember, we can help you do all that kind of stuff. So it's just kind of our touch point with everybody in Illinois. And it just depends on who shows up. But I make the agenda, so I kind of have a plan, but things don't always go according to plan. But that's fine because at Green Party we're very flexible, and you need to be.
Yeah, there you go.
So you gotta roll with the punches. So, and the next thing was something going on national.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right. The Green Party has formed an Arab and Muslim caucus. The Green Party has a lot of caucuses, which is I like the idea because what it allows is both if there's a group that you feel comfortable in or you just want to be involved in that way in the Green Party, you can. And then the other interesting thing about it is you just are immediately exposed to people from all over the country. So that's a great way to do it. There's an LGBT caucus. There's a women's caucus.
Black caucus.
Yeah. So it's a great
Lavender caucus.
Right. LGBT. Yeah. Lavender.
Oh, okay.
You're right. That's what it's called. No, you're right. Lavender. I know that's lavender was a term back in the day for LGBT. Yeah, it was an
Latinx. Yeah. See?
Well,
we can't even think of them all.
No, because I'm of the LGBT community, folks, and so right. I mean, the symbolism and the signs to represent have changed over the years. So the lavender was just an early one. There was the pink triangle. I don't know if you guys know that one. That was that came out of Nazi Germany, actually. That LGBT gay people had to wear the pink triangle. Yeah. So that's where that came out of. But anyway, lavender caucus.
That kind of goes back to, now I understand something.
Okay.
I had a friend in San Diego at Frito-Lay, and she had a pink triangle on her thumb.
Right.
And sometimes I'm such an idiot about
No.
And she was not out to the Frito-Lay people, but she was to me.
Okay.
Because we worked closely together and we were friends.
Yeah.
And I'm in there in the sales room getting ready to start our day. We're gathering our things. And I'm like, ooh, cool tattoo. And I'm just like,
no. You can't expect people because what it was. And again, there's as with any other group, there's a conflict. There's a conflict with you want to sell yourself to the public, and the other side is we want to be strong about our principles and our So the pink triangle, because it represented Nazi Germany and gays who were killed by the Nazis, it had a very strong political statement to it. And some people in the gay community are like, oh, we need to be something a little friendlier. So they came up with the rainbow flag. Okay. And so that started in maybe the 80s, if I'm correct, late 80s, early 90s. And it's interesting. I saw a guy, started it in San Francisco. And then years later, I saw a graphic from Art Deco and there was a rainbow flag on it. So he had kind of stolen it from an Art Deco period. But and it was, what it created. It was really a great graphic. I mean, it just became universal. And then, and they added all the other colors, the trans and Black Lives Matter and all that. But
what is it? What is it they say? I was going to say, good artists borrow, great artists steal. I just watched Bob Dylan. Complete Unknown. My God.
Okay.
So good.
I think he was involved in it, right? Wasn't he involved in the planning?
I don't know. I didn't
Okay.
see that part, but
Okay.
it's a great movie, by the way.
Okay. All right.
So our next segment is about who we're gonna have on Wednesday.
Oh yes, Butch
So
Ware.
as soon as I get off here, I'm gonna create this live stream. So
Yay.
subscribe, and then you can hit the bell. And like if you go at the top of your, like if you're on a channel, you go to the top, hit subscribe, and then there's the
Please.
notification thing. Yeah. So Butch Ware's gonna be here, and we're very excited.
I'm gonna be nervous. But yeah, no, Butch is like, kind of hero, because he just, when Jill asked him to join their campaign, he just took it on and he went with it, and he's really strong and dynamic. And yeah, he's running for governor in California. So that's going to be a big race. And he is out there. He is working things really, really. He's right now like the number one Green Party person in terms of publicity and awareness. And so I'm thrilled that he's decided to come on our show. And so, yeah, we're going to talk all things green.
All things green.
Yes.
Yeah. And so join us Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Yeah, we're very excited. I mean, so think about it like this. If Greens take California, Illinois, and New York, look what
There
that
you go. Absolutely.
So we need a fantastic governor candidate. We're still on the hunt. If you think you can do that, if you know somebody that can do that.
Yeah. I mean, we have some
infrastructure.
Names. We have some names, but we're working that out. We're still in the planning stages.
Yeah, we need to have it settled before September, because that's when the candidate guides come out and when the established parties announce their candidates. So this is why we're starting early. And you don't have to be famous. You just, maybe you're a leader in your community and you speak well, unlike this girl. But I can't read an article without stumbling. But we all have our strengths. I love person-to-person things. That's my jam. One-on-one. I adore that, and that's why I like collecting petition signatures, because I love to really listen to people.
Mm-hmm.
And Green Party is here to be of service to the people. We don't want to rule. Yes. We want to serve.
Yeah, there you go.
So we went long today.
But thanks everyone for sticking around. We really appreciate it. I know we covered a lot of topics. And I'm glad we ended on a more positive note, because it's a brutal time, but that's why we need the Green Party, folks. We gotta get things moving.
Yep. Also, I would like to say, don't forget you can volunteer. Mm-hmm. You can come to our meeting just to say hi. You can donate $26 for 2026 right there by scanning that QR code. And then we'll know it came from you. Because we actually made it really simple. That's our first level, $26. Yeah. And more, of course, is better. And if you only got $6, that's fine too. Yeah. We're not hardcore about that. But we're gonna need some cash to fight the Dems here. Just saying.
Yeah.
So, and we need volunteers, because Scott and I can't do everything on our own. You know what I mean? We need people that are members to step up as well.
Yeah.
Saying. So I think that's it for today. Thanks for hanging out
everyone.
With us for 2 hours and help us get to our 500. If you're watching and you're not subscribed, please subscribe.
Please subscribe. We would really love that.
And share it with 2, 4, 6, 10, 100 friends.
With your Prel shampoo.
And
we're giving out free Prel shampoo with every.
No,
we're not.
I think it was Breck.
It was Breck.
Because that doesn't exist anymore, so we can't even give that away. And they did that. Oh, what was neat about it? They did that multiplying graphic.
Right,
and you told 2 friends.
Oh, I'm going to YouTube after this show.
Yeah, we got to go look that up.
Out.
So, well, thanks for being here, and please come and support the Butch Ware live stream on Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central.
Night. Come on in Wednesday night. It'll be great.
So we'll see you then.
All right.
Take care. Bye.
An uprising, we're rising up. It's an uprising, we're rising up. It's an uprising. Fight the power. It's an uprising. Amazing